All right, I think we are live now. So before it freezes up, let me just tell you, if this is your first time here, I've been having some problems. Video tends to freeze up, kicks me out. I'll join back again. This usually lasts for about an hour, from about 7 o'clock Central Time till about 8 o'clock Central Time. There is no real topic here. It's just kind of an ask me anything. I let the chat in itself kind of drive the way the live video goes, and I just kind of answer your questions and just have some discussion. We got somebody in here already. Get a sip of my soda. It is Pepsi. It's got Ray Charles on it tonight. I don't know. Mo, hello. Well, I hope everybody is having a good evening. Hey, Chad. Hey, Adams TV. Looks like we got our first question here. Before I get into that, just tell you what's going on here. Not much, really. I got some quail that just hatched out. I'm looking over at the brooder box. I think there's about 60 in there right now, so I'm probably going to have to build a new hutch because I don't have a grow-out pen big enough for 60 birds. I should have thought of that before I started hatching them, but oh well. I'll build a new one, no big deal. Other than that, it is, well, it's not quite summer yet, but boy, it sure feels like summer. 90 degrees out every day, sunny. Right in the middle of the storm season. There's some tornado watches going on just to the north of it, just barely to the north of us. But I think we're going to be okay tonight, so no problems. All right, Adams says, can a pair of northern bobwhite quails live with a pair of snowflake quails? You know, honestly, Adams, I've never tried to, I've never raised bobwhites myself or snowflakes. I would think that it would be okay to put them together, but you might want to watch them pretty close just to make sure they're not fighting or anything like that. I think they're going to be okay, though. That's just my best guess, but it's just a guess. I really don't know. All right, Tyler says, what are your thoughts on raised garden beds versus regular garden? Okay, do have some thoughts on that. Nothing wrong with a raised garden. All right, I think we made it back in. Have to get the freeze out of the way early. Sorry about that. Okay, so let's make sure the video gets going, and somebody let me know. Can you guys hear me okay? Looks like we're going again. Okay, back to the raised garden beds. Okay, again, you can't just dig up dirt out of your yard, put it in a raised garden bed. You do need to use almost like a potting mix in there, which is kind of a mix of peat moss and compost and some of those kinds of things. So it's a little bit different dirt than, soil, I should say, not dirt, than what you would, really grow in the ground. So there is a little bit of an expense associated with setting that up initially anyway. The second thing about a raised garden, the only downside to that really is you're gonna have to water it a whole lot more. Raised garden beds tend to dry out a lot more than in-ground beds do, especially if you're mulching your in-ground beds. And I would suggest, even if you do a raised garden bed, mulch it heavily. That will help keep it from drying out nearly as fast. So there's my thoughts. I mean, nothing wrong with a raised garden bed. It does keep down on the weeds. It's a little bit easier maintenance in ways because it's raised up a little bit, so you're not having to get down on the ground to deal with things. There's some benefits to a raised garden bed. If you do it right, it can be very productive. But again, it is going to require more water. That's really the only downside to a raised garden bed. I personally don't like raised garden beds, but that's just my personal taste. It's, that's it. That's all there is to it. So it's not that there's anything wrong with them. So hopefully that kind of answers that question for you. All right. Where are we at here? And I apologize, guys. I've got some kind of eye problem that comes on occasionally. The doctor said it was ocular migraines. It just causes little patches of blurry vision. So if you see me kind of looking weird doing this, it's so I can read the chat. Okay, should go away here shortly, but right now it's hitting me. But all right, let's see what we got here. Can you feed heavy whipping cream to kits? From the cousins. I don't think heavy whipping cream is a good idea. I mean, yeah, you probably could, but it is. I mean, it's cow's milk basically. It's cream. Heavy cream is what it is, and high in fat, which is not a bad thing necessarily. I really haven't looked into that though, so just my personal opinion, don't think it's really a good thing to feed to them. I'm not sure why you would want to. Just let the mother do her thing, let her feed the kids. Everything she provides is everything they need. Hopefully that kind of answers that question for you. All right, Draconic arachnid, huh? Okay. Says, how many quail should I start with? Well, it depends on what you're looking to do. If you're looking to get into eggs and meat, then and you're going to want to incubate, you're going to want to probably start with like 15, birds, 20 birds, something like that. Or 20 hens anyway. That's going to give you enough eggs on a regular basis that you can incubate them. If you're just wanting to get started, you've never raised them before at all, just start with a small group, 5 or 10, and get used to them. Get the feel for how much it's going to take care of them. Not that much really, and you can always add to that later. So hopefully that kind of answers that question. I can't answer that how many you should get for you. It's going to be kind of something that's going to be your own decision, and it depends on how much room you have, how big of a cage you have, all those kinds of things. So hopefully that helps, though. Gives you some things to think about. All right, Sean says, I had 400 quail hatched so far since I last talked to you. I love the quail. The quail with my chickens were not a good idea. Yeah, putting quail with the chickens, not a great idea for sure. But anyway, 400 quail, though, that's a pretty good amount of birds. Congratulations on your success there. Hopefully you have plenty of room to put them all. I'm struggling with what am I going to do with all 60 some odd birds I've got in the brooder box here in about 2 weeks. I don't have a grow-out pen big enough for them, so I'm going to have to build a new hutch. All right, where are we at here? Walt says, this week's project is turning a pop-up shade shelter 10 by 10 using the legs and roof frame, wrapping the sides with poultry netting, and zip ties holding the bottom with the garden hose and landscape. Okay, you're turning it into a quail enclosure, I'm guessing, Walt? That sounds like a great idea. I've seen a few of those pop-up shades. I don't know how well it's going to hold up over time, but at least initially it's a good idea, I think. Send some pictures whenever you get that done. You're in the Facebook group. Keep us updated on that. I'm curious to see how it looks. Aviario says, good evening, Chris. Well, good evening to you. Let's see, Doug says, hi, Chris. I know you have the date wrong. Oh, I do have the date wrong, don't I? I put it as 5:30, didn't I? Oh, no. I'll have to go back and edit that, won't I? Oops, what a mistake. The cousin says the mother died. Okay, that's why you're looking at feeding heavy cream to the kids, because the mother died. No, it'd be better to go to like a farm store, get either kitten milk or goat milk if you can, or a goat milk supplement. They're probably going to have that in any of your farm stores. That's going to be probably your best bet, and good luck with that. It's incredibly hard to hand-raise kits. I hope for the best on that, man. Kelly says, hello and good evening, Chris, and everyone else here. I got the notification on time this time. Well, Kelly, glad to have you here. I'm glad your notifications are working. Thanks for joining. Jesse says, at my store, all my store-bought quail all died but one. All my store-bought quail died but one. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Jesse. I mean, it could be any number of things that are happening with those. I don't know how old the birds were, if they were young, if you had them in a brooder box, they had enough heat for them. I mean, there's all kinds of things that could be going on there. I'm sorry to hear about that, though. Hopefully it all goes well. All right, Walt says, Chris, I get that caused by going out in the sun and bright light and back in the dark area, like working outdoors. Caffeine helps relieve it. Oh, you're talking about the ocular migraines I get. I don't know what causes it. It's the weirdest thing. It's just periodically, just from time to time, just happens. Doctors ran me through all kinds of tests, and nothing wrong with me, but I wear glasses now. They seem to think that wasn't going to help it necessarily, but in the process of testing, they decided I needed glasses. That was a couple of years ago. But it didn't cause any pain or anything, just a little bit of blurry vision for a little while, a little bit of kind of blurry spots. It's kind of hard to explain. And then it just goes away. No big deal. So, all right. Where are we at here? Alex says, I'm about to get some quail, but don't know how many to start with. Well, like I said, it's kind of hard to say. You're just going to have to make a choice. I mean, just pick some. But again, you can always add to them later, so don't stress about that. Then again, get a whole bunch of them if you want to, because any of them that you don't want, if you end up being overstocked, you can just eat them. So, it's not really a loss either way. The first things first, build your cage, and decide how many you can keep in that cage, and just buy as many as you can get in that cage. That's really the first thing. Make sure you have your cage in place first. All right, Jimmy from Salem, Missouri. Well, hey there, another Show Me State guy here. We had a couple of people from Missouri here the last time. Uh-oh, did we freeze up again? Nope, I think we're going. All right, what is the website that you can ship rabbits to you? What is a website that you can ship rabbits to you? I don't know that there is a website you can ship. I'm assuming you can ship rabbits, but I've never done it. I don't know anybody that does do it, so I'm afraid I can't help with that. I don't know. You'd have to look around. Jesse says, I'm thinking about buying full-grown quail from Kansas City Quail Farms. What do you think? I don't think that's a bad idea, Jesse. You're going to get more bang for your buck by buying eggs, but if you've never incubated before, it might be a good idea to go ahead and pick up birds. If you're close enough to go pick them up, they won't ship birds, and it's not a good idea to ship birds. Birds don't ship well. It tends to stress them out too much, stunts their growth, causes all kinds of problems. But if you're close enough to go pick them up, and you can go pick them up there, not a problem at all. Go ahead and pick some up. He's got great birds, great bloodlines. You're going to get some fantastic birds out of the deal. All right. Sean's got to go collect 150 eggs. Wow. Congratulations on your egg turnout there. Have a great day. Thanks for joining us. All right, chat's starting to go by pretty quick, guys, so you know how this goes. If I miss your chat, if I miss your question, ask again. I'll do my best to answer it. Let's see. I missed a few of them already. Mean American says, I am the only ones who are not suicidal. What? I am the one and only ones who are not suicidal thoughts on this weekend, as I have to do to get this done, and the host of Speech and Debate, I hope you have to do. I don't know what you're saying. I'm sorry. I missed it. I'm confused. I'm not sure what's going on there. All right. Mike Priest says, hi, Chris. Rabbits and garden doing great. Always enjoy your tips. Well, thank you so much, Mike. Your chat just slipped by. I barely got it read there, but thank you so much for the kind words. And glad to hear everything's going great for you. I'm having a few problems in the garden right now, actually. I've got some seeds that never sprouted for some reason. My cucumbers, my cantaloupe's doing great. It sprouted just fine. My cucumbers, some of it sprouted, some of it didn't sprout, and some of it sprouted and then got eaten down automatically. I think it was slugs. That's my best guess. So I've dealt with that a little bit. I'm going to have to put some more seeds in the ground. But green beans, which are usually super easy to grow, never sprouted. I don't know if I've got bad seeds that were a couple of years old, so I'm going to have to restart those. And the corn never started either. I'm not giving up on it completely. And my okra, I only got like a couple of plants that started off that. I'm not sure what the problem is with that. I'm going to be, who knows? I'll be looking into it a little bit. May have to redo it though. All right, is 4x4 aviary good for 4 quail? This is from Adams TV. A 4x4 aviary, 4 foot by 4 foot. A 4 foot by 4 foot would hold like 20 birds. So yeah, it's perfectly fine for 4. Now, if it's an aviary like ground based, then I wouldn't go with 20 birds for sure. I would go closer to, I wouldn't go over about like maybe 10. But yeah, for 4 birds, it's going to be plenty big enough. All right, Aviario says, is there any advantage on using hydrogen peroxide on the eggs instead of Listerine? I've read some studies on that. I think hydrogen peroxide would work if you don't have Listerine. Listerine's my preferred. I think it does a great job, but there's no problem with using hydrogen peroxide. Whether it's better or worse, I can't really say. It's all kind of the same thing. All right. What is going on here? We got somebody spamming our contacts. Let me see what I can do here. There. I think I figured something out. Hopefully that helps. Okay. All right. Sorry. Okay. I got distracted there for a second. Okay. Alex says, I just sold all my rabbits because I could not find a way to be profitable with them. Do you have any tricks or tips on to be profitable with rabbits? Not really, Alex. Around here, rabbits are pretty plentiful, and they just don't sell all that well unless you've got like pedigrees. So if you really want to be profitable with rabbits, you're going to have to go into like some of the higher end breeds, pet breeds. That's really the way to go. The lop ears, the Angoras might bring a pretty price, but you're going to have to probably travel a little bit to get them sold. But that's really the way to go with that. I don't think it's worth it, in my opinion, unless you really, really want to get serious about it. But that's just my opinion. All right, Thomas says, hi, Chris, I bought 3 quail on Sunday, 1 male and 2 female. Can you help me? They're not laying. Okay, if you just bought them on Sunday, Thomas, don't expect them to lay for a couple of weeks. Moving them, it stresses them out, and they tend to quit laying for at least a couple of weeks whenever you move them. Change enclosures, any of those kinds of things. So just be patient and wait. They'll probably start laying. Make sure they have light, 14 hours a day of light, and just be patient. That's really all you can do, and they'll start laying pretty quick. It's just that, like I said, it's the act of moving them that causes them to quit laying in general. All right. My 10 by 10 is a grow out for 10 chicks. Okay, that makes sense, Walt. That's a great idea then. Lulu the Silky Chicken, it's a great username, says, hello, my rabbit had 6 babies last night. I finally broke my bad luck cycle. Well, congratulations. Boy, I know how that goes. I don't know what part of the world you're living in, but I was thinking about trying to breed my doe one more time, but good grief, summer came on like just boom, all of a sudden we went from freezing to 90-degree temperature every single day. So I don't think I'm going to get another litter until the fall. Okay, why would quails make a nest, lay eggs, and then a week or so later scatter their nest? Well, Liz, if you're talking about Coturnix quail, they don't generally go broody and build a nest. They will from time to time do that, but they're not, usually really good mothers and really good at hatching eggs. It's just been bred out of them. So it's really, they don't really have that instinct. That's probably what's happened. If you're talking about a different kind of quail, boy, it could be any number of things, but my guess is that they just, they built the nest, they started to go broody, and then they just, they don't know what they're doing. Like I said, it's not really something that they don't really have that instinct anymore for the most part. It does happen from time to time, but it's very, very rare. Usually don't get really good hatch rates when it happens. So that's generally what they're just not great at hatching their own eggs. That's why we have to do it for them. All right, Maria says, what is a hydrogen peroxide or Listerine for? Okay. So to sterilize my eggs before they go in the incubator, spray them down with I use Listerine, just regular gold Listerine mixed 50% with water, and just put it in a spray bottle, room temperature, and spray and mist them down. What that does is it just kills any kind of bacteria, kind of not really sterilizes them, but in a sense you could say sterilizes the eggs, and it can help with improving your hatch rate. It can keep down any kind of bacteria. Really reduce the risk of some kind of bacteria bloom or disease or something like that spreading through your eggs and causing them not to hatch. So don't spray them once they've been in the incubator. Once they're in the incubator, you don't do it anymore. But just before they go in the incubator, spray them down real good with that. That's what I do. And I do it when I collect them to store them as well. So anyway, hopefully that answers that question for you. Okay, Michelle is here. Hi, Michelle. How are you? Bunny Money says, rabbit tractors are the only way free feed. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with a bunny tractor, a rabbit tractor for sure. Yeah, you can keep them on the ground, let them just forage for their own feed. It's a lot of work in my opinion though, because you just got to move them around quite a bit. I find it easier just to keep them in the cages, just feed them commercial feed, but that's just my opinion. Nothing wrong with a rabbit tractor for sure. I'd like to see pictures of yours, how you got them set up, how they're working. All right, Allison says, should you give your meat rabbit any types of shot or worming? If they have worms, otherwise I wouldn't worry about it. I see this all the time, and maybe this is just my opinion. I see this all the time, people talking about worming their rabbits or their quail preventatively, like preventing them from getting worms. I have never had worms in my rabbits or quail. Now, I don't keep them on the ground. If you keep them on the ground, that might be a different story. They're going to be much more susceptible to worms. Not that they'll guaranteed to get it, but they'll be much more susceptible to it. But I don't see any reason to do that preventative. I don't like to put any kind of medication into my animals, especially if I'm going to eat the animal in the end. It just, my personal taste, don't really care for it. So I would just, if they have worms, and you should be able to tell if they have worms, otherwise I wouldn't worry about it. Walt's got a good point. He says how to be profitable with rabbits. Eat them to reduce your grocery bill. It's pretty much what I do. Aviario says Maria Ward is to kill bacteria. Okay, you're answering the question about the Listerine. Psalm 105:40 says, hi, Chris. This is the Bahamas tuning in. From the Bahamas. Well, welcome. Glad you made it. Let's see. Psalm 105:40. Psalm 105. I can't remember what Psalm 105 is real quick. I'm going to have to look it up when we're done. All right, Thomas Rumleski. I'm not even going to try the last name. Thomas. Thank you, Chris. Love your live streams. Well, thank you so much for joining. I love having you guys here. I love interacting with everybody. Bunny Money says, I never seen a flea. That must be another comment up there about treating for fleas. I don't do any kind of preventative treatment. I just treat as things come up. All right. Lulu's in Northern California. It's been raining there, and you had a week of cool weather. You lucked out. No kidding, you lucked out. It's been hot, hot, hot here, and I'm just leaving the rabbits alone, letting them stay as cool as they can during the heat of the day. All right. Danielle, is it Dan? No, it's Daniel. Sorry. Daniel says, hey, Chris, happy to catch you tonight. You're doing a great job, and I'm always checking on your rabbit videos. I love them, and thanks. Well, thank you so much for the kind comments. I appreciate that. Colleen says, profit in rabbits, get processing license, and sell just the meat, not the rabbit. You know, that's a good idea, too, if you've got the market for it, if people will buy it. Robin Real Truth says, I'm in North Carolina, southwestern corner. We're getting rain heavily as well. It pretty much rains here every day right now. Just a little bit every day or every other day. It's storm season, but I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Joplin. Did I talk about this last week? I might have. If you ever heard of Joplin, Missouri, it's probably because of the tornado we had come through. It's been, I guess 7 years ago now. Great big tornado. I mean, it just destroyed half the town, killed 160 people, 146 people, a lot of people. Killed a lot of people. It was a big, big storm. And that happened May 22nd. So, I mean, we're right in the middle of storm season. But God has been good to us. He's ever since that tornado, for some reason, the summer storms have been pretty mild. In fact, so far this season, we haven't had the storm sirens go off one time. We got a couple of pop-up storms with some thunder and lightning, but nothing at all dangerous. So, praise God, He's watching out for us and taking care of us. Oh, well, Walt's got a good point about quail scattering the eggs. It could be that, that another hen is getting in there and scattering them for them. It may not be the same bird doing that. Good point, Walt. Robin says, how about DE? It has done great for all our farm animals. Okay, Robin, there's nothing wrong with DE. And for those of you who don't know what that is, it's diatomaceous earth, food-grade diatomaceous earth. I personally don't use it myself. There are some concerns with diatomaceous earth causing lung issues, respiratory issues in animals. How real of an issue that is, I don't know. But yeah, it's a good, it's a natural occurring thing, and it is a good, I mean, it kills everything, not animals, but bugs. Takes care of pretty much everything, fleas, I mean, anything, so for the most part. So, you can use it for sure. Nothing wrong with it. I don't use it personally. Whether they're, the concerns about the lung issues are really warranted, I don't know. I don't find any reason to use it. I don't have problems with fleas or mites or any of those kinds of things. The only thing I ever have problems with really are occasionally get ear mites. Treat that with a little bit of, cooking oil or food grade oil of some kind for a couple of days, and they're gone. So I don't really find it necessary to do anything else, but that's just the way I do it. Curtis Snow. Curtis Snow. I know somebody named Curtis Snow, don't I? That seems. Do I know you? I might know you. Anyway, we have 8 rabbits. We just led our Jersey Giant and broken black rabbits run free. Oh, just let on our 5 acres, and I've been producing like rabbits. You've got them just running loose on your 5 acres. My goodness, how do you keep track of them? Hopefully your neighbors don't find out and they don't get into their gardens and start eating their gardens. They're going to be mad at you. But boy, that must be nice though. Just free bunny rabbits wherever you want, whenever you want them. Eric says, my quail makes a nest whenever I let them out of the cage, and she has 11 eggs right now. Really? That's interesting. Why don't they write? Okay, that's a unique username. Says, how do you feel about cutting rabbits' nails? Necessary? If so, how often? I don't personally cut my rabbits' nails. I've never found it to be necessary. I do keep an eye on their feet, though. If they ever, if one gets incredibly long, or they start getting them hung up in things, or any of those kinds of things, then yeah, I would trim them for sure. So I don't know that I can answer, exactly how often you need to cut them. It would make them a little bit easier to handle for sure. If you were going to go about doing it, just use it like you would a dog. Just trim them back. Don't get into the quick. Just the white part at the end. But I don't find that my rabbit's nails get out of hand, so I don't really find it necessary. But that's just my opinion. All right, Alex says, how old do the rabbits and quail need to be before you butcher them? Well, it depends on how big you want them. Rabbits, I usually go by size, not by age necessarily. 4.5 to 5 pounds is what I try to get them up to before I butcher. I try to do that by about 12 weeks old, because after 12 weeks old, they start getting the hormones, and the meat tends to get a little bit tougher after that point, but it's not that big of a deal. I try to get rabbits, I don't have them currently, but I try to get rabbits that will produce young that will get to that size within about 8 weeks. That's my ideal. But if they don't, then I give them till about 12 weeks before I butcher. Quail, on the other hand, they don't really get tougher as they get older, so you can let them go as long as you want. 8 weeks, they're usually pretty close to full grown. They will put on some additional weight after that, but it's not as good food to weight conversion, if that makes sense. They don't grow as fast after that. So you're going to be waiting a little bit longer for them to get a little bit bigger and feeding them a lot more to get them to that size. 8 weeks is kind of the sweet spot with them. All right, Walt says high 60s, low 90s for high temps in the last week. That's pretty much what it's been here, only the lows have very seldom gotten down into the 60s even. It's been pretty hot. All right, Robin says, does anyone know where you can buy quail in southwestern North Carolina? I really don't know for sure. If you're looking to ship eggs, there's plenty of places you can ship eggs from, but as far as buying specific live birds in that part of the country, unfortunately, I don't know. Hopefully somebody else does and will leave a comment for us. All right, Bunny Money says, I got 10 weeks caged bunnies and 12 weeks for tractor bunnies. Okay, well, that's a good idea. That seems to work well for you. Peek'em-chew, there we go. Have you ever tried fermented feed, and would you recommend it? I don't ferment my feed. There's nothing wrong with it. There's plenty of studies that say that it actually works pretty well. I just never found a need to, and it is an extra step. It's extra work. I mean, I work a full-time job. I've got a lot going on right now. I don't have time to deal with like growing fodder and fermented feed and those kinds of things. So no, I personally don't do it. But I believe that if you want to do it, there's nothing wrong with it. And there are some studies that suggest anyway that it might be beneficial. How beneficial? I don't know. Again, I've just never found it really necessary. My birds do just fine on this, just the regular feed the way it is. All right, Roy says, thank you, Chris, for your help. Or thank you for your help, Chris. Well, you're welcome. Thank you for watching the videos and joining the live broadcast. All right, Draconic says, Draconic, there we go, Draconic. Can't read tonight. Says, have you ever heard of Celadon quails? What are they exactly? What are their traits? Okay, Celadon is the egg, Celadon eggs. And they're a blue egg. In fact, I think I have one here. Let me look real quick. I don't know how well this is going to show up. This is one that hatched. But it's kind of a blue egg. Again, I don't know how well the color shows up on the screen. But that is a Celadon egg. Let me stick this back because it's kind of nasty. I don't want to sit there and hold it the whole time. Okay, so Celadon eggs are, well, that's the trait. That's the trait that the quail carry, is they lay blue eggs. And every egg they lay is going to be that way. There's no way to tell which ones are Celadon egg or layers and which ones aren't. They look just like every other bird. They just lay blue eggs. So they come in a variety of different kind of species. Now, if I remember right, the Celadon trait also can have the what's that called? The trait that can cause them to die. So you may have, like, if you have Celadon layers and you're hatching Celadon eggs, you may have like some of your birds just like suddenly die for no reason at a young age, and that's just a gene in them that can cause that. So hopefully that kind of makes sense. But I do have some Celadon layers out there. I don't know which ones they are because, again, they look exactly like all the other birds. That's it. Yeah, well, you can hear the peeping. Yeah, that's the quail in the brooder box. Like I said, there's about 60 of them in there. Just 2 days old right now, so pretty small, but they're peeping away. All right. Craig says, what kind of sand do you use for quails? Craig, you can use any kind of sand you want. Builder sand or play sand. I've heard some people talk about concerns with one or the other because of the silicone. I've never had a problem. All of it works just fine. I just go to the Home Depot or Lowe's or wherever, and I buy play sand. That's what I use. Walt's answering the same question. Just bag sand from Home Depot. Don't stress about it. Any of the sand's going to work. Dirt's going to be fine. I would say if I was going to use dirt, like if I was going to dig up dirt out of the yard and use that, I would probably run it through my oven, about 300 degrees for, 20 minutes, just to kind of kill any kind of bacteria in there before I threw it in there. But other than that, I wouldn't worry about it. And make sure you cool it off before you put it in there. All right, Lulu says, I sell pet rabbits and I just started to make a profit from all the stuff bought. It is difficult to make profit off rabbits, but if you want to do rabbit for profit, I'd start with lops or lion heads. Yep, good suggestions there, Lulu. Thank you. All right, Curtis says, yes, you know me. We bought quail off your wife. Make your wife at Wal. Oh, that's right. Okay, I thought I knew your name. I wasn't sure if that was you or not. Well, thanks for joining the live broadcast. I appreciate it. Maria says, Robin, real truth. I live in West WNC. I assume that's West North Carolina, and I bought mine off Craigslist from Cleveland, Tennessee. Robin, real truth, says Maria Ward. Thanks. Okay. Thanks, guys, for helping each other out. I appreciate that. Curtis Snow, again, our rabbits stay in our backyard, and we have about 4 nests now and 18 kits that are anywhere between a week to 2.5, 3 weeks old. Boy, that must be pretty nice. Craig, play sand or leveling sand. You know, either one's going to work. I buy play sand because it's cheap, but that's just me. Alex says, thank you for all your help. Well, you're welcome. I appreciate you guys, again, joining, watching the videos. Love helping people out. That's the whole reason why I do this YouTube channel. All right, Walt says, fermented feed is a good way to use all feed, including the dusty small parts. Well, good point, Walt. It does make your feed stretch a little bit further because they're not going to be able to throw it around nearly as much. So it does, you get more bang for your buck, so to speak. Kinsey says, I literally just ordered my first incubator, the Genesis 1588. I'm super excited. Well, congratulations, Kinsey. Good luck on your first hatch that goes with that. I'm sure you're going to do great. Robin says, Walt Lars, can you use DE when fermenting? Can you use it? You mean put it in the... Yeah, okay, there we go. Walt's already answered that. No, not using DE for fermenting. From what I read, they use apple cider vinegar. Yeah. All right, where are we at here? All right, Aviario says, here in East Texas, we are having a hard time with ticks. Boy, I'm telling you what, ticks are horrible here this year, too. Turkey hunting in early April, man, I came back with ticks on me every single day, even with bug spray on me. The dog's been coming in with ticks on him, and I live in town. It's not usually terribly bad with ticks here. So, yeah, we're having a bad time with ticks, too. What part of East Texas are you in, by the way? I'm kind of curious. I used to live in East Texas. I've probably asked you this question before, but anyway. All right, where we at? Peek'em Boy, I have a hard time with that name for some reason. Anyone know what to use when fermenting? I've read a lot of people use yogurt and milk as well, and sometimes even just feed and water. Yeah, I think, apple cider vinegar, yogurt would probably work. Not just plain milk. You'd want something that's already fermented. And it's not really the yogurt that you need. It'd probably be the whey. So, like, when you, if you take yogurt, like whenever you let yogurt sit for a while and it forms that liquid on the top, that's the whey. That's where all the lactobacillus bacteria is, saved in there. So, yeah, I would think apple cider vinegar would work. I would think yogurt would work. Any of those kinds of things would work pretty well. Yeah, Craig, be careful with that. You said you're using food grade DE, but it's really dusty. It is really dusty, and that's where the concerns about lung issues and respiratory issues come from. Make sure you wear like a dust mask whenever you're spreading that stuff around, so you don't breathe that in. It can be a little bit of a problem. All right, ticks are getting bad here in southwestern Ohio. I had some after turkey hunts too. Yeah, it's crazy. I don't usually get bad tick problems in the spring, that early in the spring, but boy, they were out this year all over the place. All right, Doug Jurgen says, what age can you vent sex quail? I've read 4 to 8 weeks. Just trying to confirm with your experience. Okay, Doug, you've got to wait till they, it's not really an age, usually by about 8 weeks old, because that's when they hit sexual maturity. When you hear your rooster start crowing, you should be able to start vent sexing them at that point. But they need to be sexually mature, and they need to be in the breeding mode in order to vent sex them, because that's what you're checking is, males don't always have that kind of swollen part at the back and produce that foam. They only do that during the breeding season. So if they're not crowing, they're not breeding, you're not going to be able to vent sex them. Hopefully that kind of makes sense. But usually that's by about 8 weeks old. All right, Peek'em says, thanks so much. I'm taking notes while watching. Well, thank you for watching, and hopefully it's helping you out. All right, Lulu says, I made a new incubator last month and tested it out with silky eggs, and one exploded. Oh, no. I had to help one chick hatch, only egg to survive so far. Lolo is probably, I I've never had a quail egg explode, but I know that's a pretty common thing with anytime you're incubating eggs. Pretty common for one to explode. Chances are your incubator temperature is just a little bit low. That would be my guess, especially if they hatched out a little bit late. It may be inconsistent temperature too. There's a couple of things you might think about. All right, Christopher Stone says, got my first egg. I'm at 1 egg a day, 9 females, 7 weeks old. Well, that's early for them to start laying, so just hang in there. Before long, you're going to start getting consistent egg laying out of them, and you're going to have more eggs than you know what to do with, probably. All right, Lulu says, you ever had a quail egg explode before? Okay, I already answered that, no. Robin Real True says, Chris, your channel is great. It's a very informative channel. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. That's what I shoot for, is trying to be informative, trying to help everybody out. I'll grab a drink real quick. Oh, you're okay. You're so in Atlanta, Texas. This is Aviario. Atlanta, Texas, close to the border with Louisiana, 30 minutes north of Marshall, Texas. Okay, somewhat familiar with Marshall. I used to live in Nacogdoches, if you know where Nacogdoches is. K-Thomp says, hi there. Hey, K-Thomp, how are you? Lulu says, yeah, I got to work on a few things with it. I tested out a new fan. Well, it's all about trial and error. If you end up with a good result, then who cares? I mean, it's a good experience to work through it anyway. You'll get a good understanding of how things are going. Oh, Kinsey wants to know the update on my lights. Boy, I'll tell you what, that is a... Sorry it's taken so long. I'm hoping to have them here by fall. I got a sample. The sample didn't work. They're sending me another sample. I want to make sure everything works before I go and order a bulk order to resell. I want to make sure it's a good quality product. So that's where we're at right now, is I'm waiting on the next sample to come in. All right, Alex wants to know how the garden is doing. Some things are doing really well. The herb garden's doing pretty good. Let's see, I've got some cilantro back here on the shelf behind me that's, now that I think about it, I need to get the lights on that. I forgot about it. That's sprouting out because it's so hot outside, it's hard to get cilantro to sprout that hot out. But the herb garden's doing great. Basil, dill, oregano, thyme. What else I got in there? Marjoram. Let's see. Parsley, curl leaf, and flat leaf. Rosemary, and lavender. All that stuff's doing great in the herb garden. Tomatoes are doing pretty good. I mean, they're about yay tall right now. Cucumbers, cantaloupes all starting to come up. It's doing pretty good. But I did have some problems. I was kind of talking about this earlier with a bunch of seeds that just did not sprout for some reason or another. It may be because of the heat. Maybe it's too hot. So I'm going to have to go out and replant it. So getting a little bit late in the year, I'm going to have to get that done pretty quick, or I'm not going to have much of a harvest this year. But all the lettuce and all the spinach is about ready to bolt. It's just been going crazy. I can't keep up with it. I can't eat enough of it. So everything else is doing pretty good. All right, where are we at here? Robin says, I'm the only person that was telling you about... I am the person that was telling you about my rabbit. We saw the vet. She is doing great. Thank you so much for your help. No problem, Robin. Forgive me, but a lot of people tell me about the rabbits. I'm trying to remember specifically what it was with yours. I'm sure I know what you're talking about, but it's slipping my mind right now. But either way, I'm glad to hear she's doing great. I'm glad to hear that we helped out. Walter says, so far so good, 30 eggs a day. Thanks for everything. No problem, Walter. Glad to hear things are going well. Armed Americans here. We just picked 25 squash, some cucumbers, jalapenos, and banana peppers. And my tomato plants are almost 8 foot tall. Yeah, I'm jealous of your long growing season. It's not that way around here. Craig says, I have a dozen quail now, 10 weeks old, 8 hens, 4 roos, and I'm getting 4 eggs daily. A dozen quail, that's a little bit low on the egg count, but I wouldn't stress about it. Again, just give it a little bit of time, and they'll start laying again. Maria Ward, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. I appreciate that there. So back to you, Craig. Sorry, I got distracted. Where are we at here? Was it Craig that said that? Yeah, there we go, Craig. I lost track of where we're at. Okay, Craig. 10 dozen birds, 10 weeks old. Just give them a little bit of time. They'll start laying. Again, make sure they have 14 hours a day of light. Most important thing for egg production. You should be getting about that outside right now, but you may have to add some additional lights in order to get them up to that level. That should get them laying. But just be patient. Make sure you're not moving them around a lot, and they'll start laying like crazy here pretty quick. Hidden bunnies, you're not that late. You're fine. Thanks for joining. All right, Lulu says, yeah, I lost 24 eggs, but it's okay. I got about 30 eggs a day, so not that big of a loss except for the power bill. Yep, well, true, Lulu. And just chalk it all up as learning. A lot cheaper than a college university. So, John made it to the live stream. Thanks for making it, John. Appreciate that. Craig said, when the other 4 hens start laying, how long before I can start to collect eggs to incubate? If your roosters are crowing and breeding, then I'd give them about a week and a half, 2 weeks of consistent laying, and then start collecting for incubating. It should work just fine. All right, John Liberty says, I stuck some quail eggs under my broody chicken hen. She hasn't rejected them. Wish me luck. John, I've heard of people using like bantam hens and like small hens to hatch quail eggs, and said they did a pretty good job with it. So good luck with it. I'm curious to see the outcome. All right, Craig says, my cantaloupe are dying. Any common disease or tips? Well, the most common things with cantaloupes are probably going to be some kind of fungus or mildew, something like that. It's hard for me to say without being able to look at it and see. Those would be the most common things if it's not bug damage. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of different things it could be, but those would be what I would start with, is either a mildew or a fungus. And to treat those, probably like a horticultural soap, something like that. Depends on what kind it is. It's really kind of hard to say. If you're in the Facebook group, Craig, I don't remember if you are or not, then post some pictures up in there. We'll see what we can do to get an answer for you. All right, Lulu says, I made 3 gardens this year, and pepper garden, a veggie garden, and a fruit garden, all growing amazing due to rain. Well, congratulations, Lulu. I'm so glad to hear that. My peppers are doing okay. Haven't really taken off yet, but they're doing all right. It's just going to be a little while before they take off around here. All right, Robin says, we've gotten her from another person that kept her with a buck 24/7, had back-to-back babies, and sounded like she had snuffles. Okay, I do remember that, Robin. Glad to hear everything's working great. All right, Armed American says, Chicky Poppins Poultry has 17 rare breeds of chickens, and we are the 2nd largest poultry supplier in South Carolina. Well, that's something to brag about there. 17 rare breeds of chickens. That's a big operation. All right, Alex says, it just now turned summer in Tennessee, so I didn't get a garden set. I have about 10 tomato plants, and all are about 2 feet tall. That's no problem. You got plenty of time left, Alex. Hidden bunnies. Hey, Chris, I have another joke for you guys. What did the knife say to the other knife when he lost his juice? Did you look in your sharpening cart? Okay. Thanks for sharing that for us. We all need a good laugh. And Aviario, $5 super chat. Thank you so much. What am I drinking tonight? Pepsi. Yeah, it's Pepsi. I am a soda pop junkie. I'm not too picky. I'll do Pepsi or Coke. Pepsi was on sale this week. Pepsi's really kind of my preference, but I'm not that picky. So yeah, it's Pepsi. And I got Ray Charles on the can for some reason. I'm not sure why. But he's on there. All right, where are we at here? Walt, would a solar pathway light be good enough light for the 14 hours? I'm not sure if a solar pathway light would put out enough light. They don't need a ton of light. You're basically just either extending the twilight or extending the sunrise. The early morning low light. If you can get it on just an hour or two before the sun actually comes up, give them that little extra light. That would probably work. That's my guess. But most of those solar pathway lights I've seen are really, really dim. But it might work, especially if you just put a couple in there. That would probably work. Armed American's got a good suggestion on your cantaloupe. Says check for wormholes as well or slugs. Again, it depends on what kind of damage you're seeing on your plants and what makes you say they're dying. Are they just wilting? Are they are the leaves turning brown? Something. What's going on exactly? All right, K-Thomp says, I live in an area where there are many deer. I lost 2 tomato plants. How do you get rid of deer? Well, electric fence would be a good suggestion. Aside from that, I'm not so sure there's much you can do. My uncle did. He had some problems with deer, and he put up some fencing that seemed to work for him. It was pretty simple. Basically, you put up like a bright colored piece of rope or string on a fence post or something, and string it up, that high off the ground, and then put another one about 4 feet in front of that. Well, not 4 feet. I guess it'd be like 3 feet in front of that, but put it up about, oh, you can't see my hands, about 3, 4 feet off the ground. And apparently that messes with their depth perception. They can't tell where one starts and where the other one ends, and they won't go over it. I don't know if it works for everybody. It seemed to work for him. So there's a suggestion on that. If it was me, I think it would be an electric fence around it. That's what I would put in. That's my guess. Yep. Yeah, Walter's saying, so true about lighting. I have light on 24/7, 5 eggs a day, 30 eggs. Oh, 5 eggs a day to 30 eggs a day. Yeah, that's a good idea. I'm late because I had Bible writing, Hidden Bunnies. Well, hey, that's a good reason to be late. Nothing wrong with that. Back to you, Walter. I was going to say, you may not want to leave lights on 24/7. That can lead to a little bit more aggression. They probably do need a little period of darkness to sleep, to rest. It can really, light 24/7 can kind of give them some neurological, like drive them crazy. So it may be a good idea to kind of cut those down. Again, if you're not having problems though, don't worry about it. Why change don't fix what's not broken. Yep, Walt's got the same suggestion. Tall fences or deer repellent from TSC. Yeah, if it's a really small garden area, tall fences would work. That could just get expensive over a big area. And by tall fences, you need like 8-foot fence. I mean, tall, for a deer to avoid jumping it. The choice of a new generation, Jesse. Yep. All right, Keith Thom says, I'll try that. Thank you. No problem. Doug says, I've heard lion or predator manure keeps deer away. Not sure how true it is or how available it is. Yeah, I'm not sure where you'd get lion manure, but I have heard of people using predator, like wolf, or fox, or fox probably wouldn't be, coyote, some kind of predator, bobcats, those kinds of things. Urine to repel. I don't know how well that would work. It's going to depend on a lot of different factors, honestly. You could try it and see. All right, AVRO says, are you going to be getting some chickens? Maybe, eventually, I don't know. I don't have any plans for getting any chickens anytime soon. I've really kind of been thinking about ducks for a while, but I don't even know if that'll happen anytime soon. I've just got too many things going on right now. All right, Michelle says, Chris, I have over 100 quail now, getting my own homegrown quails now, and most are so tame they walk to me. I have 50 button quails on lockdown, hatched 6 guineas this week. So cute, but fast. Yeah, hopefully your neighbors are friendly and like you, because if you've got guineas, you're going to be driving them nuts. Those are some of the noisiest birds ever. But aside from that, over 100 quail now. Glad to hear things are working well for you. I know it took you a little while to get there. I don't know if you may become the aren't you in like you're in the Caribbean somewhere, right? And I always forget where that is. But nobody sells quail around you. You might become this quail supplier for them. You might be able to make a pretty decent amount of money selling quail in your local area. All right, Maria says the hutch is in the shade and sometimes seems like there's a ton of light in there. And doesn't seem like there's a ton of light in there. What's the best kind of light to use inside the hutch? Well, if it's in the shade, they're going to have daylight. When the sun's up, so they should be getting quite a bit of light. You don't have to add super bright light. If you've got electricity out there, just a standard shop light or anything, put it on a timer, have it come on like an hour or two before the sun comes up, and then turn off once the sun comes up. That'll do it. You can use solar lights. It doesn't have to be super bright. They just need some light in order to be laying pretty regularly. You don't understand why I'm getting dislikes, Hidden Bunnies? Oh, I got one dislike. We had somebody spamming us, and I did figure out how to put him in timeout. So I put him in timeout, and it's probably why he disliked me. Oh well, I don't care if everybody doesn't like me. It's okay. The people that do like me come in, visit, hang out. We have a good time. The people that don't like me, oh well, they can go on. It doesn't bother me. Tom, hey Chris, sorry I'm late. Lockdown on batch 2 from Kansas City Quail Farms. Well, good luck with your hatch, Tom. I hope they work well. I had Let's see, I had a pretty good hatch out of my last one. It wasn't Kansas City Quail Farm. I mean, I guess it was in a way because all the birds these eggs came from eggs that were bought from Kansas City Quail Farm a while back. Maybe a couple of generations. But either way, that's where they all came from. But I've got a good amount. I got a good hatch rate. I think I got about 85% hatch rate out of this one. So good luck with your hatch. Hope it goes well. All right, Adams TV is 4x4. What are we looking at? 50 minutes in already. Goodness, it's going fast tonight. All right, Adams TV is a 4x4 aviary, good size for 4 bob whites. I think I answered this already, but yeah, 4x4 aviary is going to be fine for 4 birds. You could probably fit up to 10 in there, honestly. I wouldn't stress about 4. I think 4 is fine. Michelle, you're in St. Kitts. Okay, I'll forget that again. No offense. Ah, good point, Walt. Hunting supply companies sell predator scents too. John was thumbs up number 17. I have 18 thumbs up. Well, thank you, John. I appreciate that. All right, Robin says, my husband is in, I think you're saying in Missouri. Peking? I don't know what that is. Peking, do you sell quail? I sell some quail from time to time. Right now, about all I have is some day-old, 2-day-old birds. But I don't know where, is that Peking, Missouri? Peking, Missouri? I don't know where that is, so I don't know if it's anywhere near me. But if he is near me, I'm in the southwest corner. I'm in Joplin. So if he's anywhere near there, yeah, let me know. And if he wants to buy some, I'll be happy to sell some. Okay, K-Thon wants to know if my dog is a pointer. You see him behind me. He's hanging out with me tonight. He is part pointer. He's part pointer, part pit bull. Or urine from an... Okay, yeah. Sorry, I got distracted there. Max, come here. Come on, buddy. I don't know if you guys can see him or not. Raise your head up. Say hi. There he is. There's Max. He's a good dog. He's hanging out in here tonight. We got him from the pound. Him and his brother were in the pound. We only took him. And, boy, he has been just the best dog. Got him out this last weekend, took him to the creek for the first time, and didn't have to have him on a leash. He stayed right with us the whole time. Got out and swam a little bit, which I was kind of surprised by. He hates baths so much, but looks like he had a good time, so we'll be doing that again. Right now, he's just laying here watching the baby birds. That's his favorite activity. He loves birds. Loves them. He can't stop thinking about Spanish with... Well, you got Spanish with Christ. It's actually Chris. Not that I'm offended by that, but either way, Spanish, huh? I've been trying to learn some Spanish, but it's slow going. I'm not, I got to do a lot more studying. All right, Alex says, if you get ducks, I would recommend Muscovies because they raise their own young and have a good amount of meat on them. But they are flyers. Well, yeah, good point, Alex. They are flyers. I live right in the middle of town, so who knows? We'll see what I get. I don't know that I plan on getting any male ducks either. Who knows? We'll see. And Adams TV, no problem. Don't worry about it. Akinola, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, says my buck and doe are about 1.5 years old. Do I start planning to replace them? I would start planning on it maybe. I usually find you can get about 2.5 years, 2 to 2.5 years out of a buck and a doe, especially a buck. A buck should be able to go further than that. But a doe, usually about 2.5 years is about what I get out of them. And I just wait until it depends on how hard rabbits are to find in your area. If they're pretty easy to find in your area, just wait till you start getting bad litters, whenever if you start getting small litter counts or, something like that, then it may be time to replace the doe. But usually a buck will go, 3-4 years pretty easily. All right. Aviario says, hey, Chris, can quails get heat stroke? Sure they can. As long as you keep them in the shade, though, they're usually okay. Don't, freak them out too much. Don't be going by the cage and, stirring them all up, getting them flopping around and going crazy during the heat of the day. They should be fine. But, yeah, it is possible any animal can get heat stroke. Make sure they've got access to water. Make sure they're in the shade. Leave them alone during the heat of the day. You're going to be fine. It's nothing to worry about. All right. Alex says the way to stop that. The way to stop Muscovy ducks from flying is to clip one side of their wings. Yep, I already knew that trick, but thank you. That's a good suggestion. RN says, hi, my rabbit is not eating a lot since the weather got really hot. That's pretty common. Make sure they've got access to clean water, and it's cool water. If rabbits don't have water, they won't eat. So that may be one thing to look. Make sure their water bottles aren't clogged up. Make sure they're drinking plenty of water. That would be the first thing, especially if your bucket's sitting in the sun and it's heating up all day and it's hot water. They may not be drinking it because of that. There's a couple of suggestions on there. Otherwise, it may just be, the temperature change got them off feed for a couple of days and they may pick back up just fine. Yep. K. Thomp says he's pretty. Yeah, he's a good-looking dog. He knows we're talking about him. He's sitting down there wagging his tail. Walt says, my golden retriever had both his jewels, and when coyotes started attacking little dogs and cats, I took Dusty out at night to mark territory. That stopped coyote attacks. Good suggestion on that, Walt. All right. Hidden Bunny says, this time I need to clean the kitchen. Oh, I understand how that goes. Well, have fun cleaning. We'd much rather hang out with you, and I'm sure you'd much rather hang out here too, but got to do that. It's got to be done, right? Walt says, khaki Campbell ducks can lay 250 eggs a year. Muscovy only 20 to 25 a year. Yeah, I was thinking about probably a khaki Campbell or a runner duck, or there's a couple of different breeds of ducks that are good egg layers, and that's what I was thinking about. Armed American, are you out? Well, we're getting pretty close to the end anyway. Thanks for joining us, Armed American. You have a great evening. Geronimo says, I breed quail from meat and eggs and have breeding New Zealand rabbits. Your channel helps me. I have a barn cat that trespasses. It has killed a handful of birds. Should I kill it? It is becoming a big problem. Well, Geronimo, that's really your choice. I can't tell you should or you shouldn't. If you know, if it's just a stray and you live out in the middle of nowhere, then maybe that's your best bet. Or at least trap it and see if you can relocate. Not just go let it loose somewhere else, but if it's a cat that you can handle, friendly enough, maybe you can take it to the shelter. Get it adopted out, become somebody's pet or something like that. If you live in town, call the city animal control. There we go, and have them come take care of it for you. It's at least around here, it's illegal to let cats run just loose. They don't really enforce it unless somebody calls and complains. And I'm almost ready to. Not quite. I like my neighbors quite a bit. They're friendly. I don't mind their cats so much, but good grief, they want to use my herb garden as a litter box. They want to use my garden as a litter box. Everywhere I'm growing food, they want to use it as a litter box. And I don't know. I'm trying to work on ways to keep them out of there. It's been not so bad here lately. Hopefully it doesn't get any worse. All right. Dave Hogg says, I have 3 does, New Zealand black, 1 New Zealand white, buck. My first litter of 6 all black, by the way. It's 2 a.m. here in the UK. Dave, you made it in at 2 o'clock in the morning. I feel very lucky, and I thank you for joining us. I appreciate that. But I've got my New Zealand red and my California buck. I bred them together. All the babies were black. I don't know why. It's just weird. All right. Ty says, do you think I can breed, say, a Flemish giant with a wild rabbit? No. Domesticated rabbits won't crossbreed with. They may try, but they won't successfully crossbreed with wild rabbits. Wild rabbits are a different species altogether. It can't be done. So. Isabel made it in. Hey there, how are you? You made it just barely in time. I'm about to finish up tonight, but glad you made it. Good to see you. Robin says, Chris, he is near Farmington. Okay, I know where that is. He goes through Perry to drive back home. I'm not sure where Perry is right offhand. I can't remember exactly where Farmington is. I'm somewhat familiar with that. I don't, look it up on a map and see where we're at. And again, if he wants to make a trip over here, I'd be happy to sell it for you if you want some. Catherine, how are you? Good to see you. I don't think I banned anybody else. Hidden Bunnies? No, I didn't ban anybody else, so who knows? Maybe they didn't like my advice on something. I don't know. John Liberty says, I have a sandbox for stray cats to use. That's not a terrible idea. I should do that. I should just build an area for them back there with a sandbox. The only problem is I got to make sure the kids, the grandkids don't play in it when they come over. MetzerFarms.com with a golden comet breed that lays up to 300 eggs a year. That's interesting, Walt. Catherine, you made it. Yep, we got to finish it up. We're right at an hour in here, and I still got things I got to get done tonight. Not to mention eat dinner, and I think my wife is just getting home from work because the dog is at the door looking anxious, like he wants to get out. So he probably heard the garage door or something. So I need to get this wrapped up, get going. Boy, we had a good lot of chat tonight. Kept us busy all night long. Max, wait. Just wait. All right, sorry, I had to calm him down. He was starting to scratch at the door. All right, got to wrap this up, guys. Got to get this out. I got to quit looking at chat or I won't quit talking. Thank you, guys, every one of you for joining. Thank you so much for the super chats tonight. Thanks for just engaging with me in the chats and watching the videos and keeping up here. I appreciate every single one of you. And as always, God bless every one of you. We will see you guys next week. Bye.